TV, this is your post-match analysis of last night's defeat in SE16 in the second round of the Carabao Cup against League One, bottom of League One, by the way, Leyton Orient. Whew, okay. This is a post-match, yes. It's a little bit of a moan-up of sorts, but more than that, and people will love a moan-up, my comments have been picking all through the night and all of this morning. It's more of a putting across of opinions, shall we say. Not that Neil Harris watches this show. I'm not sure if he does or he doesn't, or even if he did, he'd probably think, mate, what the fuck do you know about football? But as far as I'm concerned, there's some very easy fixes for our team. And I think it's not just me that's going to say it. As you're probably hearing it, you're probably all saying the same things to your friends, your family, people you go Millwall with. Let's start out by saying he did make 8 changes last night. And, of course, he did allude to the fact after the game that we've had 3 very close league matches. We had a very good point on the road last time out against Hull. He said we should be on something between 5 and 7 points. Not sure if I agree with that in total, but I will definitely say that we are... You know, we know we're short and we're still short, and there's reasons behind that, which I may or may not cover in this video, but there's going to be loads going on today. It's just been announced that Callum Scanlon is going to be joining from Liverpool, and also a player whose name I've forgotten, Wintle, I think his name is, from Cardiff. He's going to be joining as well. He's having a medical today in SE16, both loans. So, you know, things are going to get better. It's going to take time. I do urge you again to be patient. But anyway, let's start the show by taking a look at the 11 that the gaffer did pick last night to start the match. And I did say it's going to be a difficult one to scope, but also from my side and you as well. You know, what do? Do we go strong and try and win, or do we try and keep some players fresh and hold them back for Saturday? Because Saturday, the last game before the international break against Sheffield Wednesday, is absolutely massive already, even though we're only early on in the season. So we went with a little mix of both, which I felt was the right thing to do. It's what I would have done, but the mix he went with, it didn't really quite work, and he got it wrong in certain areas. Mainly I'm talking at the back. It was Liam Roberts in goal. I'm constantly forgetting that guy's name, by the way, first and second. Danny McNamara right back, Joe Bryan left back, Murray Wallace and Sean Hutchinson were a central defence pairing. George Saville was accompanied in the centre of midfield by debutant Daniel Kelly. George Honeyman continued in a 10. Idemo Amaku got his first start of the season on the left. Femi Aziz on the right, and Langstaff also got his first start in a Millwall shirt. Okay, so I personally think the big problem, well, there was lots of problems last night, mainly going forward. One, we couldn't get forward because Leyton Orient looked like a really good side. They knocked it around really well, confident. They got out of the pitch as a unit. And I thought they looked like a really, really decent side. It just shows the strength of the level that League One is now. They've lost 3 games out of 3 in the league. I did mention it in my preview, I think, and that was Birmingham, Charlton and Bolton. So there are 3 sides there that you wouldn't predominantly associate with League One. But the big problem for me was at the back. And Murray Wallace is getting a shitload of stick online. I don't think the goal was his fault. And I don't think he was overly worse than a lot of other players on the pitch. But just in the sense of Jensen's come in and he's had a little bit of grief and he didn't start the best, and the Southampton one I'm willing to wipe clean off the slate. I don't think he was at fault for any goal against Bristol City. Watford 2 definitely he was at fault for, but he's come into this game off winning man of the match, or the vote on Twitter on the Millwall official amongst our fan base, and he's left him out. Now I feel that it would have been beneficial to him and to the team to carry on playing him, go strong. But what we don't do is we don't seem to start strong. We sort of wait to go behind and then react to that and then bring other players on. Impact players like Idemo Amaku. Why don't we have the impact of starting strong in a game, get a lead, and then defend that lead instead of doing it the opposite way round? So I would have started Jensen. Listen, Murray Wallace, he's done at this level. We know that. He's been a brilliant servant for the club. He's scored some very big goals, iconic goals in our history as well. But him and Hutch, not so much, but Murray Wallace is not going to play this season, especially now it looks like we're going to sign this left-back from Liverpool on loan. So it was completely pointless to play Murray Wallace last night, especially with Hutchinson. Again, in the preview, if you saw it, I would have gone, once again, with Tanganga, who's only played 1 game. Of course, everyone else has played 3 or 4 due to his suspension, and Jake Cooper off the back of a clean sheet. That's your core, your goalkeeper and your 2 centre-backs. So play them again, right? be strong at the back, be solid, get a lead against Orient, and then take them off. Start on the front foot. Don't start thinking, if we go behind, this is how we can react. Danny Mack, I think, played really well at right back. He later went on to left back when Joe Bryan was removed. Joe Bryan got absolutely torn to pieces last night. And on top of that as well, his distribution, which is usually excellent, was absolutely horrendous. So it's an off night for him. Central midfield, I was all over Daniel Kelly starting. And he looks all right from what I've seen. But don't forget, he's 18 years old. He's just turned up. It's his first game with his new teammates. Not a lot of them around him are helping him out and having a good performance either. So I thought he looked okay, and I would have played him. I didn't have any issues with his performance. I think he was removed at half-time. I went inside the box at half-time. When I came out, the stream for some reason had crashed, which does happen sometimes, but I just go back onto it. The stream was gone. So I had to start a new stream. Then we was greeted by the pitch invader. I have no idea what that was fucking about. All the games to do it, he chooses Millwall versus Leyton Orient in front of about 3,500 people. But anyway, so Kelly went off at half-time, was replaced. Honeyman went off as well. George Saville actually spent the majority of the night standing next to Murray Wallace at centre-back. I don't know what Savs was doing last night. Maybe he did need that rest. If he did, then he should have been more vocal about it. And I think it was a massive mistake to play. I would have kept Savs fresh for Saturday because I think he's a massive part of our things going forward and the core of our side. And I sort of see Savs as a skipper on the pitch. You know, he's vocal, he's in people's ears, he wins clever free kicks through using his experience. You can see him directing the traffic at the other players as well. So for me, that was a mistake. But the biggest one, and it's nothing against, again, how Honeyman's played, or one of the biggest ones. Honeyman he's a grafter, all right? He's a Millwall type player through and through. He gives everything for the club. You cannot knock him for that. But we cannot play games at home, Gaffer. We cannot continue to do it. Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday. You cannot play this defensive 4-5-1 in effect. At the weekend, you have to put someone in that 10 who is going to carry the ball, travel, and have a little bit of quality in the final third. And he hasn't got that, unfortunately, Honeyman. He does put the occasional nice cross in. He puts a lovely fucking tackle in, rattling people left, right, and centre, and he's industrious. He gets around the pitch. He gives everything, like I said. But that automatically, with him in that midfield, makes us retract. And everything we was doing last night should have been that way, 20, 30 yards further up the pitch. We're so inverted, we're so within ourselves, and you can see that when people get in the ball and they pick up the ball. If they've got a bit of space to travel into, they'll run forward, and as soon as they get it, yes, they may be running forward, but they're looking up trying to get rid of it left, right or backwards straight away. A team full of crabs. We got no confidence going forward. Maybe that's the early results, I don't know. And then on the wings, this is really frustrating me as well, and I keep saying this. Idemar Maku played left wing last night, and Harris actually come out in the press and said something about people knocking on his door, and they need to, they won't be knocking Friday to play Saturday. I think that was aimed probably at Amaku and potentially Langstaff as well. But it doesn't help these wingers out. Every time Amaku got the ball, he had his back to goal. He was at a player in very close attention. They were getting touch tight with him, and he couldn't turn. But if you play Amaku on the right, what he can do is he's old school, knock it past people and run, and he get crosses on his right foot. As the same with Femi Aziz on the right. He actually conceded the goal, give the goal away with the move that started it, because he's on the wrong side of the pitch. So he's trying to cut back in, he falls over, loses the ball, and Leyton Orient score a goal. This is massive for us, and he won't play Amaku Saturday. He'll probably play Aziz, but he has to he has to play Watmore on the right, and he has to play Aziz on the left, because as I said, look at the second half against Watford. Look how much space we had to travel into. Look how far forward Denor and Saville were getting. And yes, we was 2-0 down, but knocking the ball past fullbacks and running, and then you've got the opportunity to cross the ball in the box on your preferred foot. Not only are they perfect balls for the centre forwards, our type of centre forwards to run onto, but it drags the rest of the team up the pitch, and it gets us in their half. We was terrible last night. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen at the Den. And I've seen a few, I'm sure you have as well. But it was definitely up there. We looked like the team from League One that was playing a championship side in Leyton Orient. And I'm not sure whether we made them look good because it was that bad or whether they actually weren't a bad side. But look, in possession, as I said, they were confident. They were playing the little triangles out the back. We couldn't get near them. We didn't have a shot on target in the whole game. That's an absolute disgrace when you think of it in those terms. And although I did want to win the game, I wasn't fussed about getting knocked out the Carabao Cup, of course. But that definitely would have been a stepping stone for us and a little bit of confidence and potentially a goal or two for Langstaff to take us into Saturday's game. And now we're looking at, the lowest confidence we've had all season. And we did get a good point up at Hull, but I think, it could work against us, or we could have a reaction from Neil Harris where he goes, right, okay, we're at the cup, that don't fucking happen again. And he has promised the fans in the chat with Richard Cowley last night that you won't be seeing that again. He said some players at the club need to understand what it means to play for this club. So we're a little dig at the players there with that and the previous comment about people knocking on his door. I don't know. Moving on to the forward, Langstaff. Now, again, he didn't play well last night, but who did? Let's be honest. And we all say it, we could have Haaland up front in our side. He wouldn't score any goals because there's no balls going into the box because the midfielders sit on the back four's toes. The 10 is actually another central defensive midfielder/midfielder, and the wingers don't get down the wings. They invert. So that you've got someone who's up there very, very isolated. Having said that, and you're all going to go, yeah, up Bradshaw's arse. For the sort of striker that we need at the club, okay, Tom Bradshaw is absolutely miles in front of Macaulay Langstaff, and he showed that when he came on the pitch last night. Of course, he has gone off injured. Neil Harris, once again, has said after the game that looks a serious one. We're going to be without Brothers for the long term. It looks that way. So we definitely need to get a centre forward through the door. There was talk to Coburn. There was talk to Dykes. He's all gone quiet now, and we're signing a left back and another CDM. But I'll cover that in videos later today. Eventually, we did sort of come into the game late on, but we still didn't test their goalkeeper. And it's when we went 4-4-2. And I just think it's a no-brainer. You've got to go 4-4-2 Saturday if we get a striker in. If we don't, then of course with Nisbet going, we only have one fit striker in Langstaff. He's not going to play a Mako up front as long as he's got an hole in his arse, and I think he should. So on Saturday, we absolutely, if we're going to do that 4-5-1 gaffer, please listen to me. You have to play Femi Aziz on the left if you're going to play him, and whoever you play on the right, they need to be right-footed. And then you're going to have to stick Eze in the 10, because you're not going to stick Mako in it, so you may as well stick Eze in it. I still don't think Fleming is going to be fit. We'll have to go with Langstaff up front. It is very much patching it up at the minute, and again, I'm going to cover something that's not really to do with the game. People talking, we're all on WhatsApp groups, we all see posts on social media. What's this rift? There's a rift between Neil Harris and Steve Gallen, the new head of recruitment. There must be a rift. I don't think it is. I think what it is we need to understand, and I don't want to keep banging the same drum, but it plays into budget. Our budget, we don't compete in this division. So we have to wait. We have to bide our time. We have to beg, borrow and steal. We have to wait for this player who was maybe thinking he was going to get in this team. Now he's not, so we might be able to get him for a cut price, or he's not part of the plans here, so maybe we can take him on loan. I think that's all it is. Harris would have been involved in the process of bringing in Steve Gallen, so he's not going to bring in someone that he don't see eye to eye with. And everyone's saying, well, the money's there if we want it. We know we punch above budget-wise in this division, so I don't think there's any rift. And I mean, look at Ipswich. Ipswich have had to wait for the season to start. They've now gone out and signed Jack Clark, Sammy Smollich and someone else this morning, because they're a team in the division they're in, punching above, and they have to do what we do in the Championship. You have to wait and see what comes up, and when it comes up, you have to take what you can get sometimes. But look, last night was absolutely fucking horrendous. Absolutely clueless going forward. No one wanted to take responsibility. No one wanted to carry the ball forward. All looking sideways and backwards. Hot potato, looking to get rid of it as soon as they can. And no chances created. It ends 1-0 to Leyton Orient. What we absolutely must do now is use this as fuel going into Saturday. Neil Harris has already put a call to arms out to the fans saying, I'm sorry. I do apologise for that on behalf of the players. But, yes, it's the players. Yes, the desire can be there. And maybe it wasn't there last night. But it's also, Gaffer, I love you know that, but it's the tactics. It's the shape we're setting up in. It's all too inverted. It's all too geared towards coming backwards. And then we're pumping the long ball eventually, either through Murray Wallace with the Adidas crowd finders on, or balls up to Langstaff, who's about 5'8". It's not going to work. The only way it can work is get balls across the box to Langstaff. He's a poacher, similar to Bradshaw, in the area. Give him the chances, he'll score goals. But he can't do that with 40 yards from goal, and he's back to play with a defender up his arse, or getting balls up here against a 6'8" centre-half with a nose across his face. Fuck off like that. It's no good. Things have to change, but it's a case of wake up and smell the coffee. We can all see it. Honeyman, if you want to play Honeyman, I've got no issue with that. Play him centre midfield, but you can't play in that 10. Not at home. It can't happen. And the wingers have to play on the wing of their strongest foot so they can get down the wing and get crossing. The thing is, it's like the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a better result. It's actually worse than that, because we have done it against Watford and we showed how strong we can be going forward and how effective our wingers can be, and which in turn allows our centre midfielders to press forward. we did it against Watford. We come back into the game, and it's like Groundhog Day. It's like someone's wiped the slate clean out Neil Harris's memory, and he don't remember it. So there you go. That's the post-match analysis done. I need to wrap it up because we've got players coming in left, right, and centre today. But as of yet, so I'm hearing, still no centre forward. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.